everyone and welcome to another video. I'm Simply G and today I'm going to be showing off all of the anime that I got for this month, November 2020. A little bit more here than I expected, so rather than spend too much time on this intro, I'll get straight into it and I hope you guys enjoy. So first up is a series that I got from the JB Hi-Fi sale. I'm still waiting for several items from the sale. Most of them were back ordered, which obviously meant it took a little while for them to be shipped out to me, and they've been shipped out piecemeal, so I'm expecting more next month, hopefully, fingers crossed. And this is the complete series of Majestic Prints, a series that happily just had its OVA and film licensed by Sentai. I don't know if we'll ever see a local release here in Australia because Hanabi seems to be pretty dead in the water when it comes to licensing anime right now. But Sentai has gotten the license for it and it will be something that I'll be picking up. I've seen the series way back when it first came out. It's a pretty by-the-numbers mecha about a group of mech pilots in space who are fighting an alien race or war. I don't quite remember, but it's good. It's decently solid. I enjoyed it a lot for what it was. It's not gonna, completely transform your outlook on mecha, but it does exactly what it needs to do very well. As I said, this is the local release. As you can see, it's from Hanabi. And this is just the two part sets put into a slip box. This is pretty typical for Hanabi and is, what I've come to expect for their releases like this. And this came out years and years ago. I'm sure they've just been sitting on a lot of stock for a long time. But, and this is the series that my sister has owned for a while, and as I said, we did watch it when it aired, so it's not like this is a blind buy or something new for me in particular, but I did want to finally just pick it up. It was at a price point that I was like, well, I did enjoy this, and I probably will want to rewatch it sometime in the future. I might as well get it now whilst it is very cheap, and there you go. Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing the film and the OVA because obviously I haven't watched them up until this point. Those came out years and years ago as well, and it's nice to see that Sentai at least is following up on some of their older franchises with some of the bits and pieces that they skipped over prior to this. So yeah, Majestic Prints. It's a pretty solid little mecha show. I think it's on Crunchyroll still. I don't remember. It's streaming at various places, so you can watch it if you don't want to necessarily buy the set itself. But it has gotten a recent, it's got a recent license of the film, but it's also, you can get the complete collection from Sentai, and it was very cheap recently in their Black Friday sale, so might have been an opportunity to pick it up then. And I'm sure with the Christmas sales coming up as well that it will be, cheap again. So if you're all wanting to get it, maybe you want to look into. Next is something I got from eBay locally, but this is the US release. I don't think it's been released anywhere else outside of the US. This is the sequel film, Sound Euphonium, the movie Our Promise, A Brand New Day. I haven't watched this yet. I think this is the final part of the series. So it is a sequel to season 2 and just wraps up, I guess, the series and the characters and their whatever. It's been a while since I watched Sound Euphonium, I must admit. And this, of course, like with most Shout Factory slash 11, what is it? Anyway, 11 Arts, that's the one, has both DVD and Blu-ray. And we've seen more of these films. Well, I think the recap films have been licensed as streaming only currently on platforms, namely Amazon Video or Prime Video or whatever it is. And I don't know if we'll ever see those make a transition to a disc release, because recap movies are kind of in a iffy place for companies, although we have been seeing them get licensed and released more and more over the last couple years. But this is an actual sequel, if I'm understanding correctly. Yeah, I mean, Sound Euphonium isn't my favorite KyoAni work, but it is beautiful. It's really lovely if you like concert bands, if you like especially brass instruments. You know, it's nice, it's sweet, and as we know, over the last year or so, I have been actively trying to collect all of KyoAni's works, namely because I want to own them, but also just as a way to, well, obviously last year they suffered from a horrible arson attack, and so many talented people lost their lives in that, unfortunately, and this is a small way that I have, like, part of their career, part of their works. And KyoAni, if nothing else, like, even if you don't necessarily enjoy all of their series, even if they're not your favorite stuff, that I have a lot of KyoAni works that I absolutely love. Free, obviously, but also Hyoka and you know, other stuff that they've done. But even my least favorite KyoAni title has still been enjoyable, inoffensive, just fun, and pretty expert at what it does and what it's trying to do. So in extension of that, I just wanted to be able to have all of those, and I think a lot of KyoAni titles are things that you can just put on and have, like, this emotional warm fuzziness come from them, and I think that's a testament to the studio and its values and the types of people who were working with them and who are working at the studio. And so yeah, I mean, anyway, Sound Euphonium the movie, this is one that I've been meaning to get for a while. I have a couple other Sound Euphonium and KyoAni stuff coming to me in hopefully the next couple weeks, just because, yeah, I am kind of getting to the end of my collecting journey with this KyoAni stuff. But yeah, so this was just another little piece of that, and I do like Sound Euphonium for the most part, so I am hoping to watch this sooner rather than later. Next is some stuff that so I had a pre-order. Well, I had an order with Right Stuff that had a pre-order item in it. I did that purposefully because I wanted to get some sale items from them, but it wasn't enough for, I think, I can't quite remember, but I also wanted to order this next title that I'm going to be showing off with them, just to have my pre-order in. And unfortunately, one of the other items in that order came to me damaged, so I'm hoping to get a replacement for that from Right Stuff. And that's, I understand that like, when it comes to companies like that, you're expected to return the item. Unfortunately for me, because I am international, it costs more than it would if I was in the US, but hopefully, regardless, I will get my replacement safe and sound in the next month or so. Who knows if it'll be here for my December haul. If not, then January at the very least. But regardless, so I had 2 sale items and then also this pre-ordered item, and this is a series that I really love. But unfortunately, tragically, it was cut, like, its life kind of was cut short. And I really hope that we do see a continuation of this series in some form. That may give you some indication of what it is. It's Funimation standard release, and that is Stars Align. So this is a sports drama about a middle school soft tennis team. So for those who don't know, soft tennis is a Japanese specific or Japanese exclusive sport where it is tennis but with softer balls. And it's typically only played in like middle school. It's not really something that has a professional league or anything like that. But so this is the story of two childhood friends who reunite in their first year. Is it first or second year of middle school? I can't quite remember. I think it's first year of middle school. Who they used to be quite close neighbors previously, or classmates. But one of them moved away many years ago and has since moved back into the neighborhood, and their friendship has reignited. And so amongst their being reunited, his friend asks him to join the soft tennis team, the boys team at the school, which isn't super great. They're not they're not quite cohesive as a team, and none of them are really that much as star players, aside from this friend who's offering him to join, who is also the captain of this team. And we have backstory as to his older brother was also a very accomplished soft tennis player. And so yeah, it's a sports series about soft tennis and all of the members of this team and all of their improvement over time and how this team kind of works cohesively as a group. But more so than that, this is a personal drama, and I will preemptively warn you that this series deals with a lot of dark themes, or mature themes, a lot of very emotionally affecting themes, which may be uncomfortable or triggering for people. So all of these members, well, majority of the members of this group all have some sort of personal trauma in their childhood, namely our main character, who is this boy on the front here in the jacket. The reason his family, he's in a single parent household, he lives with his mom, but the reason his family moves around so much is because he has a physically and financially abusive father who basically comes into their lives every time that they've settled down, asking for money, and if he doesn't get it, he becomes violent. And so it's portrayed, it's shown in this series how this kid reacts, how he deals with this, how he is confronted by his abuser, and his coping mechanisms are so true to life and so very much real as to how victims of abuse, especially children, react in the situations when they are trying to please or avoid their abuser. And it's just in that, and I don't know if this is spoilers because it's immediately the end of the first episode, but it just hits so true to life that it doesn't feel like an dramatized anime moment. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is done for the drama and people don't actually act like this. It is real. It is very, very real, and that's why I want to preemptively warn people. But even aside from that, even aside from our main character and his personal traumas and issues, we have other characters who families are going through divorce, who are struggling with their gender identity, who are struggling with their adoption and like reconnecting with their birth parents. It's and also struggling with their other characters, struggling with physical trauma that was inflicted by their birth parents. It's ooh, these poor kids have gone through a lot, is all I'm gonna say. And it's really, really done with a lot of nuance. It's written in a very heartbreaking way, but all of these characters, you want good things to happen to them. You want them to succeed. You want them to overcome or make peace with a lot of the stuff that's happened to them. Unfortunately, as I said, this was cut short. I do believe that the series was initially meant to be 24 episodes. It was then given one cour, so 12 episodes, and it ends on the most heartbreaking, terrifying cliffhanger for multiple characters, but definitely our main character. And that's it. That's the end. And it hasn't been like highlighted for or solicited for a second season because it's not a super popular series, even in Japan either. And I really, really hope that, because this was a passion project for the director, I want to say that. So he wanted to make a story where it does show, like, even though you're young, even though you're a kid, even though, you know, you're in your early teens, doesn't mean your traumas, doesn't mean the things that are affecting your life are any less valid. And obviously kids can feel these emotions that sometimes get hand-waved by adults because, like, well, you're a kid, your life's so easy, you don't have to pay taxes or go to work or blah, blah, blah. And it's literally saying, like, no, just because something bad is happening to a kid doesn't mean it affects them any less than if it's happening to an adult. And kids, you know, have to mature and like, have to adapt and deal with those issues in a very, like, adult way. Just because you're a kid doesn't mean that you don't know about certain parts of life. Anyway. I do hope that we see more of the series, whether it's through some sort of multimedia, like, continuation. That I know the director was talking about that, or whether it does somehow get another studio to produce it, get some funding for the second season, or crowdfunding. I really want more of this, and I really hope we see more of it sometime in the future. Yeah, Starline, it's beautiful and heartbreaking and very, very much full of human emotion. But I will say that obviously deals with a lot of traumatic themes. So maybe if you are particularly sensitive to any of those, just go in with an awareness, or, you know, skip it over if it is something that will affect you too much. But I love the series, and I hope we do see more. On a happier note, we have the other item that I got from that order that wasn't damaged. Another sports series. All three of them were sports series, just by the way. But this one is a limited edition from Sentai, and that is Run with the Wind, the complete series. This is a anime, 23 episodes long, about a cross-country running college team. Well, it's about cross-country running, and majority of the members are kind of like strong-armed into joining. None of them, well, very few of them have running or marathon experience, and it's basically about them coming together as a team, training, and with the expectation, with the hope of them competing in the Hakone marathon. I think it's a marathon, where they all do a leg of 10 kilometers, something like that. I don't quite remember. It's very, 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 very good. It's also done by the same team who does Haikyuu. So similar character designs, very similar feel. Obviously characters are older, so they are in college. They're not teenagers, which may be refreshing for those who are kind of over the high school sports series. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I watched like 3/4 of it in one sitting and I really loved it. It's one that it's also based off of a novel, which I personally think that novel adaptations tend to be stronger, just because as a novel, one, it's typically self-contained, so you get a full, beginning, ending, arc, cohesive narrative in one package, and because novels have this context, and because you can do so much with novels through your writing, and there's a little more expectation as to how characters interact and their emotional maturity and things like that. It tends to feel like, for me, it normally in novel adaptations, characters feel more like humans rather than anime or manga characters, which is not a dig at anime, like manga or anime, but there's characters in Run with the Wind typically, or in novels, typically act a little bit more like, and not light novels either, because light novel characters are completely different ballpark. Characters in novels, like actual novels, interact or act more like humans. They normally have to stick with the predetermined rules and logic of the world that they occupy. And typically, especially for something like this, it's very grounded in reality, right? Whereas manga, because it is also a visual medium, there's a lot more bombast to it. There's a lot more dynamic, paneling and things like that, and action. And so normally, that tends to be like less realistic. It's more exciting, more visually interesting, but it's not it's not quite indicative of how things go in real life, right? I don't think that's a controversial statement to make, but, and again, that's not to dig at either, but it does mean that I like novel adaptations a lot when it comes to manga, and some of the strongest stuff, anime adaptation wise, comes from novels, in my opinion. From the New World is a great example of that. Hyoka as well is a great example of that. This is just another in a long line of stuff. Tatami Galaxy, another great example of that. The Eccentric Family. There's a lot of examples of it, and I would argue that majority of them are regarded in very high regard. So anyway, Run with the Wind, great. I've said this before, I'm not an athlete, especially not a cross-country runner. You couldn't pay me to run, but it is really interesting to see these characters improve and their places within the team and why they do the things that they do and how running in cross-country has affected their lives. And it's a fun time. It's really good. All of the characters are really strong, and very, very likable characters, and very relatable as well for a lot of them. So yeah, check it out if you haven't. It's on Crunchyroll and other streaming services. Run with the Wind is really great. Now we've come to the end. There's a couple different releases in pertaining to one series, one franchise. So last month I was talking about how a friend of mine was getting rid of their Sword Art Online collection. Basically was like, do you want this? And I was like, alright. But but part of it was still in storage. He hadn't gotten it out. He hadn't pulled it out. But so he did that like last week or the week before. So from him, I got the second. This is the, and I don't know why. I mean, I see myself maybe as a oddity in so far as, like, I would say majority of Australian anime fans buy the Australian release of something if it's available. And obviously Sword Art Online is available here. And we had our own limited edition versions of the second season. But instead of the Australian limited edition release, he bought the UK like standard limited edition release, because the UK had like a really big so Anime Limited put this series out in the UK, and Anime Limited we've seen before on my videos, and you'll see in the next thing actually. They typically have like a small like single digipack with an outboard slip or outer box slip cover, and a booklet or whatever. And so normally, like with Sword Art Online, because of Aniplex, it's released in 4 bits, just like the first season. This is the second season. I don't think I reiterated that. So there was Anime Limited put out like 4 of these original like limited editions, and then it also had like a bigger box that could fit all of those in there. But at some point they did put out like just this beautiful box for the standard releases, so it is still a nice looking package, without all the fancy like actual collector's packaging. And honestly for me this is kind of preferable, especially for a series like this where I'm not super, like, I don't really care what the packaging is. And in Australia here we had like 2, all of our releases were in a similar like just standard keep case, but there was a limited like a hard chipboard box set for the first half and then the second half. I have seen the season. I watched it not when it first came out, but I watched it kind of around that time-ish. So this season follows the Phantom Bullet arc. There's another arc which is like only a couple episodes long called the Caliber arc, which starts in this one, and then that is followed by Mother's Rosario, which is, so Phantom Bullet is when Kirito is in Gun Gale Online, which has, like, that game and that series has a spin-off, which I talked about last month, which I also got from him. But that so obviously it's a virtual game with guns as the focus versus swordsmanship, which is what kind of the standard has been for Sword Art Online. It's in the title. And so it's about Kirito playing that game and helping people and making a friend and getting a new girl for his harem. And then the second half is much more, it's back in like the Alfheim online fantasy game, and it's more focused on what's her name, Asuna, which is nice. It's nice to have this series kind of not always be focusing on Kirito. It gives his girlfriend and kind of the second most important character some stuff to do. I've said this before, I don't hate Sword Art Online. I'm certainly softened to it over the years. And I did I enjoyed the first half of the first season. I thought it was really good at what it did. It's not brilliant. It's not like the most amazing thing in the world, but it's not harmful. It's not like the worst thing either. But yeah, so he sent me this, or he gave me this, which was very kind of him. And then he gave me another Anime Limited. I guess maybe he was just buying the 2 things together. I don't know. This is the Anime Limited edition of the movie Ordinal Scale, which I hadn't seen, and I've since watched it. It's good. I liked it. I liked it. It's good. It's, again, not like brilliant. It's not, changing the world, but if you want cool sword action stuff, there's a lot of callbacks to the previous series and arcs. You have all of the characters having their little time to shine. I think it's a really smart. So okay, this this series is set, this movie is set after the second season, before the third season, I believe. Or like Alicization, which is the most recent stuff. And a new, not nerve gear, but a new like device, AR device, is on the market, and it's a lot more casual. It's kind of like Google Glass, but everyone has one, or a lot of people have one, and through that, it's like if Google Glass and Pokemon Go collided, and became a thing, so you could play these virtual reality games, and namely the movie's subtitle, Ordinal Scale, and gain points and whatever. And Kirito's not too keen on this new thing because he likes VR, he likes virtual reality, not augmented reality, because he in real life is not as cool as his video game counterpart. Like, he's not as fast. He can't actually run and do all his cool sword skills in the same way that his video game character version of himself can. And I thought that was like a nice conflict. And comparatively, all of his friends, aka like his girlfriend and the other girls that he knows, are pretty into it, and they've been playing a long time. But all of a sudden, things are going on, and people are losing their memories of Sword Art Online. And the main like factors, they've all been playing Ordinal Scale, and then unfortunately, one of the people who's losing their memories of their time in SAO is Asuna, which for a lot of people, I don't know if they necessarily, it would still be traumatic to lose 2 years of memories. And for Asuna especially, because obviously that's where she met Kirito, and they kind of formed their relationship and grew closer as, as people and as partners and all this, that, whatever else. So it's a very emotionally wrought moment for her to be losing and forgetting things that were so important to her, and which still are important to her in her relationship. And I thought it was done really well. I thought it was, like, the villain is dumb and stupid and evil, but like also it's fine. It's Sword Art Online. You don't need to be a brilliant villain. You just all of these villains are like, yes, I will use video games to get my revenge or to do my plan. And that's exactly what it needs to be, right? But yeah, I thought this movie was pretty good. The action was amazing, as you should expect from a film and for a series that is so focused on action. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? It was a good time. I liked it a lot. And especially, again, if you go into it knowing that it's going to be a Sword Art Online film, and if you like these characters, if you like the series, then absolutely give it a shot. I mean, even if, like me, it's not, I don't think it's brilliant, I don't think it's, the best thing ever, but I like SAO for what it is, and as I said, I've softened towards it a lot over the last couple years, especially considering the current state of light novels, and especially light novel protagonists and isekai. Kirito, in comparison to some of those guys, he's just a nice guy who wants to help people and live his life without too much drama, and love his girlfriend, but stuff just keeps happening around him, and he has to, because he's a good guy, he wants to help. Compared to some other light novel protagonists we've gotten over the last couple years. Anyway, finally, so I got those two, and then I was like, well, this is a more recent release. I wanted to get it whilst the limited edition was still available, because I do think it's sold out now. So I kind of snuck snuck in and got it whilst I still could, and I got it a little bit reduced on sale during that. Well, it wasn't the same sale that I got Majestic Prints, but it was a concurrent sale where I think all Blu-rays and DVDs were 20 or 25% off from JB Hi-Fi. So I managed to get Sword Art Online Alicization, which is, I haven't watched yet. I haven't watched this part. This is the first season or the first half of the thing. I know there's two parts of Alicization, or 2 seasons, and there's a movie or something coming up, and I know there's a progressive movie coming up. All I know is that it's a different game, Alicization, obviously, and Eugeo, this guy, and he's in so much art, and he's Kirito's boyfriend. He's added to the, I don't know, but I do know that he's like very front and center for a lot of the art, and he becomes a very good friend to Kirito. I don't know anything about this series. I don't know if he joins the harem. I don't know anything. I will watch it. I promise I will. So this is both parts. I think it's like 25 episodes. Let's see. 24. And this limited edition came with this second half of the series. Oh my god. And it comes with a booklet, as you can see, which I expect is just like character art and profiles and stuff. Yeah, I mean, like with every Sword Art Online part, I expect new characters to be introduced. I expect, obviously, the new game to have sort of different functions and goals, and there's a problem and they're gonna have to solve it, and Kirito gets involved and is like, yeah, I'll help. Yeah, I don't know anything else about the series other than that. I don't know how much of the current supporting cast is in this series. I don't think that, like, Asuna will ever go away. Obviously, she's the main character's girlfriend and is a very important character, but I don't know how much she's in this series. Maybe I'm just dumb and haven't seen her around too much in all of the, like, gift sets and stuff that I've seen of this series. I might be wrong, but I do think it's more so a focus on, especially Kirito obviously, but these two new characters, and more so Eugeo. Anyway, doesn't matter. I look forward to reading. I look forward to watching this, actually. I've heard pretty good things about this particular arc, and yeah, it's gonna be fun, full of action. Sure, there's gonna be some comedically evil villain they have to defeat, and, you know, Sao. Hey, that's everything anime-wise that I got for this month. Quite a good month for me, limited edition-wise, I guess. Nice to finally have that US order shipped out to me, aside from the issues of, you know, damaged items. And, you know, the couple things that I picked up on sale was nice. And obviously, like, right now is definitely sale season with Black Friday and Cyber Monday, and then holiday sales and things like that. I have stuff coming, so I don't know when that'll happen, when things will ship out to me. I've definitely already placed orders, US orders that have gone to my proxy. They aren't coming directly to me, so I won't see them for a couple months probably, unless I decide to ship them earlier than expected. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on any of these series. I'm sure, like, most people are familiar with, especially Sword Art Online. Like, that's not some sort of underrated hidden classic. But, like, Run with the Wind is really great. It's also pretty popular. I know quite a few people have, well, at least in the circles that I occupy, people seem to be aware of it. But yeah, have you heard of stuff like Stars Align or Majestic Prints? Have you watched them for yourselves? Also, let me know your thoughts on like Alicization or this Euphonium movie, because those are the two that I haven't watched yet. Is there anything egregious that I should be warned about with regards to those? I wouldn't expect there would be. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Mystery to me. But yeah, so that was everything that I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next video. Bye till then.